Catanduanes Island, known both as the Happy Island for its scenic views and friendly locals, as well as the land of the howling winds for the many typhoons that strike its path from the Pacific Ocean. It offers stunning landscapes, pristine beaches, and thrilling adventures of an untouched paradise. Located in the Bicol region of the Philippines, about an hour flight east of Manila, Catanduanes is my home island. It is where I grew up in my early childhood, before my mum and I moved to California when I was 7. It will always have a special place in my heart, as I still remember a few of the memories living here. The island is part of Luzon and is the 12th largest in the country by population, with a little over 270,000 people calling it home. The island is made up of 11 municipalities. They include San Andres, Virac, Bato, Pandan, Gigmoto, Viga, San Miguel, Panganiban, Caramoran, Baras, and Bagamanoc. There are many festivals that take place throughout the island, such as the Catandaunes Festival, Abaca Festival, and many folk festivals and fiestas, which are all worth seeing in person. I would recommend planning your trip around one of these events to not only immerse yourself in the natural beauty, but also its culture. Aside from Tagalog, the predominant language spoken here is Bicol, but like the rest of the country, many speak English, making communication simple. While the island is still off the radar for tourism, it has gradually gained popularity for its unspoiled beauty. There aren't too many hotels and resorts available throughout the island compared to other popular destinations in the country, but the scenery and serenity sure makes up for it. Catanduanes is quite safe overall. I've traveled to several dangerous places and neighborhoods around the world solo, but here, I never felt like I was in any danger. If you're visiting the island, take your normal precautions, like you would anywhere you're exploring. But in these parts, most travelers explore it trouble-free. The main transportation on the island is by bus, trike, or motorbike. There are no motorbike rentals that I found, which is unfortunate. However, there is a van rental in Virac if you're keen on renting one. Luckily, motorbikes here are cheap, so buying one isn't a problem, as there are many to choose from. I prefer motorbiking parts unknown throughout the world, and this island is one that should be on a bucket list for two-wheel adventurers. However, I didn't have a motorbike at my disposal, and this was a trip with my mum, so we took to the road by car, borrowed from my family. While one can go around the island in a day, a minimum of 4 days and 3 nights is highly recommended to get the most out of your exploration. You'll avoid feeling rushed and not appreciate the breathtaking views in front of you. As someone who's motorbiked throughout the country of Vietnam, including the Hai Giang Loop, this cat loop, as I call it, has potential to be a great motorbike tourism destination. Most visitors are welcomed into the island through Virac, as that is where the airport is located and would be your first place of stay. But since I have family here, once we landed, we got picked up and went straight to our hometown of San Andres, about a 45-minute drive from the airport. We had a stormy welcome to the island, but fortunately, our flight was able to take off instead of it being cancelled, which happens quite frequently due to weather. San Andres, formerly known as Calolbon, is a small town in the southwestern shores of Catanduanes Island. Calolbon, formerly written as Calolbon, is derived from a Bicol expression na Calolbon, which translates to being submerged, as the houses of the original community along the river looked when viewed at sea. The early Spanish explorers misunderstood the native guide that the submerged houses meant the name of the town, therefore placing Calolbon on the map. In 1964, a bill was introduced to the Philippine Congress to rename the town in honor of its patron Saint Andrew the Apostle. The bill was passed on June 18, 1964. However, many locals preferred the old name as it was unique to the entire archipelago. It further caused controversy at the time, since the townspeople were not consulted, nor a referendum vote had taken place to change the name. Today, San Andres is the official name of the town, but many locals still refer to it as Calolbon. With 40,000 calling this place home, it has a quaint yet vibrant way of life. Getting around is quite simple. One can explore this place by foot, or by trike, or motorbike. It can be explored within a day by taking a leisurely stroll. Just be sure to cover up with an umbrella or sunscreen from the midday sun, as the heat here can get pretty intense. Rolling thunderstorms and sporadic torrential downpour also frequent these parts throughout the day. Most last for only a few hours. However, this region is a common path for typhoons year-round, which have caused devastations in years past. Because where the island is situated, travellers are likely to encounter rain at some point during their visit, practically at any time of the year. In the centre of town is the main plaza, which is used to host many activities and events such as basketball tournaments, dance performances, parties and formal events, and many more. Right beside the plaza is the Church of St. Andrews, which the town is named after. Having been a Spanish colony for a long period of time, the Philippines is predominantly a Catholic country, with several popes making the 6,000-mile trip from the Vatican a few times. So one will encounter many churches as you explore the country. A block away is the port terminal, which connects the main island of Luzon to Catandaunes by ferry. A short stroll eastward takes you to the newly constructed Bay Walk, where events, markets, and gatherings are also held. Life is simple here with a laid-back attitude. You're on Filipino time, as they say. The town hall is located on top of a hill, just a few blocks away from the plaza. The building has a nice view of the town. And 5 kilometers away is the cave of Luyang. It is situated in Barangay Lictin and houses an innumerable amount of bats. The cave is a witness to the slaughter of the local people who attempted to escape the Moro pirates in the early years of the 18th century. The entrance is free, but make sure to bring a flashlight as there are no lights inside. For visitors, a few places to stay in San Andres are at Emily's Paradise Resort, located right outside of town on the Agojo Peninsula, or Amenia Beach Resort further out, or Wuppertaler Trailers Inn in town. Any of those will suffice, but I would stay at least a night at one of the resorts to enjoy a picturesque view of the sunset on a beach. Upon arriving in San Andres, locals were setting up stalls, adding the finishing touches to their outfits and props, and doing rehearsals for the annual town fiesta. In which several barangays throughout the greater San Andres area partake. Like most towns and cities on the island, each one holds an annual town fiesta. If you're visiting in November, this occasion should not be missed. While some events take place throughout the month, the bulk of it are held in the last week of November. They include religious gatherings and nightly processions, basketball tournaments, street dancing and parades, beauty pageants, and formal gatherings. The fiesta is not only a celebration and showcase of the town's achievements and culture, but the whole region of San Andres. What is a Filipino fiesta without the food? There is a day dedicated where families serve meals and invite friends and family over to feast. While we ate mostly home-cooked meals, there are several food vendors around the plaza that one should try. Filipino cuisine is a wide spectrum, as Filipinos are part of the prehistoric Austronesian migration, which started from Taiwan and settled to as far as Madagascar and New Zealand. On top of it being an archipelago which isolated some of its people, allowing its regions to evolve with minor variations. This includes its culinary culture. My advice is to try as many different dishes and see which one satisfies your appetite best. With that said, some of my favorite Filipino dish are umba, Bicol Express, sinigang, tocino, sweet and sour fish, and Filipino spaghetti. For dessert and something to snack on, make sure to visit a bakery. Filipino bread comes in a wide variety with different tastes, texture, and flavors, both in savory and sweetness. As mentioned before, Christianity is the predominant religion in the Philippines, with the Catholic Church being its largest denomination. A procession is held every night throughout the last week of the month. It starts at the church, loops through town, ending back where it started. Many of the townspeople, from adults, children, to the elderly, partake in this emanation of the Holy Spirit. As someone not familiar with this type of ceremony, it is quite striking to witness firsthand. There is something poetic with the imagery of people marching in the shadow of night whilst raining. Basketball is not just a sport, but an identity in Filipino culture. It is the most popular sport in the country and is played both in amateur and professional levels, so much so that it's often described as a second religion. Go to any street corner in the Philippines, any village, any beach, you're likely to see a basketball jersey. It was introduced during the American colonial period, with the first American teachers teaching the sport, along with baseball, through the YMCA and school system. A month-long tournament is held between barangays around San Andres, competing for the championship. Games are played at one of the team's hometown, with the final matchup being held in the capital of Virac. Be sure to check out a basketball game whilst in the country, even a local one, as there is quite a passionate fan frenzy throughout the game, as heard by the loud roars from the crowd. A beauty pageant also takes place, with each pageant representing their barangay. It is quite a popular event, to say the least. While I've seen this universe on TV growing up, this was my first time going to a pageant in person, so I didn't really know what to expect. However, I was quite impressed by the production and theatrics, especially when it came to the costume part of the show. And of course, the pageants.
Sumalik sa national pageant, and I think magagawa ko yun sa suporta nyo.
There are also short intermissions from local talent in between each category. Each pageant is judged for the physical appearance, talent, personality, intelligence, as well as communication skills. It ultimately came down to pageant number 4 and 13. Number 4 representing Barangay Codon and 13 representing Barangay Cabcab.
Binibining San
One of the main highlights of the fiesta are the parades and dancing. There are two that take place. The first one consists of barangays or neighborhoods around San Andres, with choreographed street dancing, which leads up to a showdown. It starts at the Baywalk and concludes at the plaza with dance performances from each participating barangays, each one competing for a championship. There were 4 barangays that participated in this year's celebration. They are Sapang Palay, Rizal, Codon, and Agojo. Each barangay has a theme, which is represented by their costume, outfits, props, and dances, led by their respective king and queen of dance. There were several awards given out, won mostly by Barangay Sapangpalo. However, the first place winner was captured by Barangay Rizal. This was by far the highlight of my trip on the island. If you're planning a visit, don't miss out on this festival. It's quite refreshing to see art and creativity being celebrated and nurtured by each barangay and coming together as a community. The second parade is much larger and more formal. Which includes some of the participants from the Buroniyogan festival. As well as individuals, groups, and clubs that make up the many aspects of San Andres. These include military soldiers, law enforcement, government officials and employees, representatives of each barangay, schools, student bands, cheerleaders, pageants, and many more. It departs at the plaza, heads towards Town Hall before turning and looping around town, ending back at the plaza. During these times, the whole town is lively with street food, local markets, and of course, locals celebrating with friends and family. San Andres may be small by population, but by no means does it lack culture, personality, and identity of its people. A place with friendly locals, delicious food, nurtured creativity and passion, and pride of their island culture. This being my native hometown, it was great taking my mum to see friends and family that she hasn't seen in a long time and being able to explore our home island as well as witnessing this fiesta for the first time. As we start our 2-day road trip around the island, we went counterclockwise, but one can go either direction. We first made our way to Virac, which takes about 30 to 45 minutes away from San Andres. The drive to the city is scenic with winding roads through Licton and lush green forest throughout Rizal. Virac is the capital of Catandaunes. It's also the most populous city in the province at 77,000 people, yet it retains a small town aura. This city offers pristine beaches, calm and peaceful fishing villages, beautiful waterfalls, and gorgeous cathedrals and churches to visit and explore. In town, one can explore the ins and outs of the city and check out the local markets, wet markets, bazaars, or VTC, short for Virac Town Centre. The VTC has a supermarket, a bank, a food court, stage area for events, and other businesses all conveniently in one place. A place I recommend eating at is Blue Cafe, located here in the VTC. It's a good spot to take a rest while exploring the city. We visited this place several times while on the island. They have a nice option of food and desserts, as well as free Wi-Fi. Another place we ate at is at the ARDCI restaurant. The food was great, upper scale restaurant, with a nice viewpoint of Virac. There are several places to stay in the city. They range from hotels, inns, homestays, and a few resorts. Some notable accommodations are ARDCI Hotel, Lucky Hotel, and E-Crown Resort. There is also Twin Rock Beach Resort south outside of the city. Cost for lodging can be as little as $25 to $100 and up. The nightlife, however, is bleak, but I did manage to find one bar called Drunk Box PH with live bands and DJs playing late night. If you're looking to party, check this place out. It had a good crowd with everyone enjoying themselves. I definitely want to DJ here the next time I visit. As we pass Virac, we head to Bato. Its population is around 22,000. It is unknown why the name Bato came from. A theory is that it came from the Tagalog word that means rock. Another says it came from Spanish colonizers who recorded the area as Bato, which eventually became the town name. The town itself is divided by the Bato River. Its most iconic structure is its bridge, which connects the western part to the eastern part of town. This is the longest bridge in the Bicol region at 320 meters. Remnants of the old bridge can still be seen next to the current one. It was destroyed by a super typhoon in 1995. This junction on either side is a great place to stop and admire the scenery. There is a viewpoint where one can park and see the landscape on either side of the city. Places to visit here are Marabina Falls, located on the cusp of the region near the border of Virac. The falls is about 6 meters high, with radiant spouting rapids of perfectly clear waters. It is named after the villages of Marinawa and Binanwahan, a perfect spot for picnickers and weekenders. There is a fee of 15 pesos, or about a quarter per person. In town is a cathedral one can visit, as well as this sign across the street from it. Other places worth visiting is the Bote Lighthouse, Poseidon Rock Formation, and Sacahon Beach. Places to stay at are Poseidon Cove Beach Resort and Ananong Mountain Resort. There is also a vista area with a town sign as you enter Bato. You'll see many of these signs as you enter each town and municipalities. Here, you can see the coastline on either direction and the vast Pacific Ocean, and whatever typhoon is looming in the distance. After taking in the scenery, we then made a stop at a local bakery to get some bread and coffee. I don't know what type of bread we got, but they were all delicious. The drive from Virac to Bato is scenic, passing mostly along the coast. The roads here, at least the main artery, are in great condition and look well maintained. One less thing to worry about, as the weather is already unpredictable. Approaching the bridge is a fork. Straight leads you inland into the mountains to San Miguel, and crossing the bridge takes you in town and further east into Baras. Baras is an even smaller region with a little over 13,000 inhabitants. However, there are quite a lot of scenic points to visit, such as Binurong Point, Balakai Point, or right off the road at Catao Beach. This is also true for lodging, as there are several options within Baras, so plan accordingly, as this may be a good spot to spend the night. The name Baras is derived from the Badas plant, once abundant in this region. What this plant is exactly is not clear. However, what is known is that it was useful material for making spears that were used to repel pirates and raiders. From Bato to Baras, you'll start to drive upwards into the mountains on winding roads. There are a few places to stop and see the scenery, but it is mostly covered by vegetation. The weather did clear up as we drove up the mountain and into Baras, where it stayed sunny most of our transit through the region. As we got into Baras, mountains were replaced with farmland, and we ended up befriending this carabao as we took a break on the side of the road. Gigmoto is the least populated in the province at about 9,000. The name originated from the Bicol word himbot, that means just in time. Legend has it, a young man from Baras was seeking to court a maiden from Viga, so he traveled north to do so. After staying for a period of time in Viga, he won her over. When the lovers were bound for Baras, they stayed overnight at Gigmoto, just in time for their first romantic night of being together. As years went by, the word himbot was changed to Gigmoto. Years after, it was once again changed by replacing the H to a G, as many believed it resembled a Japanese word. This region has the most breathtaking scenery on the island that I've seen. It features lush green rolling hills that cuts into a rocky cliffside overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Along with a few pristine beaches, one can see farmers tending to their crops and livestock to gauge the local life in these parts. With farmlands engulfed in thick jungle and mountainous terrain, you get a feeling that you're traveling back in time. The sky was blanketed with a thick layer of clouds during our transit through the region, which cooled the temperatures, ideal for exploring the open greenery. Places to visit are Nupa Green Lagoon, Bahor Falls, and at the Sycamore Sign. This place is best for car camping as there aren't any options for lodging, at least none that I found at the time. The cell service from here on out is also spotty, which made it difficult to look for places to spend the night. But this is probably my favorite area on the loop and would thoroughly explore it next time around. The drive through Gigmoto was great with overcast weather, cool temperatures, and sparse rainfall. But with winding roads, storm clouds, and the sun nearing the horizon, we decided to start looking for a place to stay. Viga has about 23,000 in population. It's a small bustling town surrounded by farmland with mist rolling through in the early morning. The settlers founded this place due to its fertile soil. The name comes from Mar Viga, a herbaceous giant gabby-like plant that grew abundantly in the area. We didn't find a place to stay until we reached this town after dark. As this location is more populated, one can find several options for lodging from hotels, resorts, and Airbnb around the region, with hotels starting around $50 and Airbnbs at 90 and up. We didn't really explore this place as we just stayed the night and went on our way the next morning. I would, however, recommend taking a nice ride along the rice fields early in the morning. Panganiban is situated on the northern part of Catandaunes. It has a little under 10,000 residents. We ended up not stopping here as we were trying to make our way to Pandan before noon. Tourist activities here are virtually non-existent. The drive is filled with mostly farmlands, but start to get mountainous as you drive further into Bagamanoc. The original name was Payo, named after a village headman, or Payo as the villagers called him. He set sail with a crew to only be shipwrecked in the area. They ended up never being able to return home. Years later, migrating villagers found the remains of the sailboat and called this area Payo in memory of the headman. In 1921, Payo separated from Viga and was renamed Panganiban. It was subsequently renamed back to Payo in 1957, only to be named back to Panganiban in 1959. Bagamanoc is a coastal town in the northern part of the island. It has a little over 11,000 people. The municipality currently has no specific tourist activity. However, there are potential areas endowed with natural attributes and resources that are conducive to recreation and leisure, in which have great potential to lure visitors and tourism in the area. These include sprawling beaches, lagoons, waterfalls, coves, and island hopping. A place to go while in town is of course the beachfront. Here, you'll find the sands are black from heavy minerals and surrounding volcanic erosions in the region. There is also Padai Falls north of town, but we were unable to find the entrance or path to this cascade. After spending about half an hour with no success, we continued on to Pandan. Pandan is the northernmost municipality of Catandaunes, with about 20,000 residents. The name originated from the locals planting pandan shrubs close to each other as defense from Moros pirates and raiders, which proved formidable for the pirates to overcome. When the Spaniards came, they asked what the name of the shrubs were, and the people told them they were pandan, thus naming this area Pandan. This area boasts many natural beauties, such as Cagnipa rolling hills, the Hyop Highlands, Tuwad-Tuwadan Lagoon, and Hinik-Hinik Falls. There are several places for lodging, the most well-known being the Halfway Resort. The name is due to the location being halfway from Virac, when looping around the island. Rooms start at 3,500 pesos, or around $60 per night. Well worth it for the location, the views, the amenities, the delicious food, and services provided. I would recommend staying here when you reach Pandan. Construction was taking place during our visit. They are expanding the property and adding a segment with a pool at the bottom of the slope near the beach. After eating our lunch and enjoying the view, we then headed back on the road. Caramoran is situated on the eastern shores of Catanduanes, neighbouring San Andres to the south and Pandan to the north. It has roughly 32,000 residents. The name Caramoran is thought to be closely linked with Caramoan, located the other side of the Maqueda Channel in Camarines Sur. They are related as this area boasts an abundance of cara, turtle shells that can be found in the region. These shells were used for making combs, bowls, and decorative materials. Hence, both areas start with the word cara in their name. Places to visit are Palombanes Island, Bitaug Beach, and Tignob Beach, to name a few. You'll come across this large sign as you pass the board of San Andres and Caramoran. After Caramoran, we made our way back to San Andres, where we were greeted by a thunderstorm. This portion of the road is quite scenic. A few places to stop at are Tibang, Codon, and Bislig. This is quite a nice loop. It's not too long and not too short of a journey. My only regret is we didn't spend more days. Upon visiting, making this project, and doing all the research, I discovered, and more importantly, taught me things I didn't know about my hometown. As we wrap up our visit in Catandaunes, we pack our bags and head to our next destination of Legazpi.